Greetings, redheads. Thank you for joining me in another edition of your favorite show, the one, the only Reds View. Of course, I am your gracious host, the one, the only J Red. Make sure that you tap in with me, subscribe to the channel, which is youtube.com/RedsView. It is going across your screen right now. Before I continue this video, make sure you hit the like button or the dislike button, and you already know what I'm going to say. As long as we get some traction, I don't care. You can say how much you don't like me, how much you don't like the video, as long as you comment, because we're here for a conversation. We're here for a discussion, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and get into what we're going to talk about tonight. So Ari Lennox projects colorism on the Martin TV show. Ari Lennox, that's right, singer Ari Lennox. I don't know if she's still signed to Dreamville with J. Cole, but she's a singer. Um, I think the last hit she had was like Jermaine Dupri produced it, I want to say. But anyway, shout out to Ari Lennox, man. So if in case you've been hiding under a rock, all right, Ari Lennox talked about the Martin TV show. She was on this podcast. I'm not sure who it is, so I can give you your credit. I apologize for that. But she was on this podcast and she basically brought up Pam. Now, Martin and Pam, if you watch that TV show, and I'm a big fan, I think Martin, the sitcom, is my favorite sitcom of all time. It's a battle between that and Fresh Prince, but I go ahead and just say Martin by default. So if you know, Martin had Gina, his girlfriend, turned to his wife, everything like that. She had the best friend, Pam. Now, Ari Lennox was on this podcast projecting this colorism, suggesting, she didn't say it verbally, but she suggested that I'm just going to say this. Ari Lennox alluded to Martin roasting Pam all the time because she was dark skinned. That's right. Ari Lennox projected this colorism on the Martin TV show, and she insinuated that Martin joked on Pam because she was dark skinned. I kid you not. Let me play the clip so everybody can hear what I'm talking about, because it's been having these internet street. I didn't even expect it to blow up like this, to be honest, because I think it's ridiculous. But this is Ari Lennox right here. She looked good. She got a sexy vibe to me. I'm not gonna lie to you. Ari Lennox is very sexy to me. It's just something about her. But listen to this. Listen to this real quick. This is fair use, by the way. Fair use.
The thing that pissed me off about Martin was how much he would go on Pam. Like I know, like and this is coming from a girl who I love me a good like joking ass movie, and it even when the joking movie is like, damn, like that was fucked up. Like, I'm not like too woke or something is what I'm trying to say. Like I'm honestly
That's what it sounds like. But keep going.
not I'm problematic. I'm pretty problematic, low key. But my point is that there are some things where I draw the line and it just bothered me. Or like, I don't know, it's like Pam was so fucking beautiful and so fine. And I just feel like growing up as a chocolate girl, like I don't even
You see that? The chocolate girl. Okay. Let me play it again.
up as a chocolate girl, like I don't even know if I was able to understand the greatness of Pam because of the light that I feel like I was being fed. You know what I'm saying? Like of just like always going on Pam, always like that's all I remember. And I didn't like that. But like, so I feel conflicted because while I feel like this show is incredible and I feel like Martin is a legendary show and all of the actors and Tommy and like everybody, like legendary, amazing. Like I adore them all. Like you have no idea. And I adore Martin. Like I adore him. It just would piss me off. Like the joking on Pam. I just didn't like that, like I'll always kind of feel a way about that.
Okay. All right. So shout out to Ari Lennox. Like I said, I think Ari Lennox is a beautiful chocolate sister. She's sexy to me. It's a difference between just beautiful and just sexy. Like Ari Lennox look good. She can get it. But this is the thing, man. First off, where were the colorist jokes? Where was the dark skinned chocolate jokes towards Pam? I've never heard not one, and I've seen every single Martin episode, right? Every single Martin season. I have yet to hear, and nor that I recall. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. When did he ever make jokes about Pam's skin tone? When did he ever make jokes about Pam being dark skinned or brown skinned, however you want to say it? Is this a projection just because his wife was light skinned? Is that what it was? Gina was very light skinned, but just because Martin was joking on Pam, see, it feels like Ari created this illusion in her head. Maybe she was around people that said this similar stuff, or came up with this in her head or something like that, or she projected. What it sounds like to me is that she projected her own insecurities on the Martin TV show. Now, the thing is, Martin used to joke on everybody. Everybody got the business. Martin joked on his best friends, Tommy and Cole. Martin joked on his wife, Gina, always talked about the size of her head. You know what I'm saying? Her breath. He always joked on, he would get into a squabble. The man got into a squabble. He would square up. He would square up with Miss Jerry, a senior citizen. The man would joke on his mama. Well, that's where he kind of drove the line or whatever. He draw the line when it came to Mama Payne, right? But he would joke on everybody. Stan, he would joke on everybody that was around him. And then Pam joked back. See, what Ari tried to do was just try to create this situation to where Martin was bullying Pam. And I can't stand this soft society that we live in nowadays, trying to make like Pam was a victim or something like that. She used to crack on Martin, and a lot of times her jokes would be funnier than Martin's jokes. She got on his size and all this other stuff. The man never said nothing about her skin tone. He got on her hair, he got on her breath. Those are the main things that he would get on, and maybe how she can't keep a man, something like that. But never have I heard that. So that's a clear, that is a ultimate projection. And Ari Lennox should be ashamed of herself for doing that. I just I think that maybe, and some people are insinuating this, that Ari has some mental issues going on, because a lot of times when we hear about Ari Lennox nowadays, I'm just keeping a buck. It's always negative stuff. Negative stuff with her label, her going overseas, and that dude saying something to her about, hey, you sing about sex all the time, and wanted to talk about sex and all that, whatever the case may be. It's just like it's always controversy, and not really focused on the music. And I'm not saying somebody can't speak their mind, somebody can't speak their truth or whatever. Maybe that did make her feel like that. And I can't knock her for how she felt, but that's a big projection. And for her to say that on a public platform is disrespectful to Martin, is disrespectful to the cast, the crew, and it's disrespectful to a legendary show just altogether. Nobody ever thought about that. Just because Gina was light skinned, that's what it feels like. Okay, his wife is light skinned, he's going in on her, but he went on everybody. Gina would go in on his friends. Everybody. See, you know the irony? Not having a job can make somebody feel real bad. There was a man named Tommy who they all cracked on, saying he ain't got no job, right? But if that is, and a man, when a man doesn't have money, that makes a man feel insecure, that makes a man feel less than. But skip all that. Skip Gina's big head, skip Cole living with his mama, just all this other stuff that could be deemed disrespectful to someone, right? Grown adults. Just talk about Pam. Why he always have to go in on Pam? I was a chocolate girl, and that just made me upset and all this. And it's like, come on, man. That's straight BS. Creating something out of nothing. And I wonder if Martin is going to respond to that. This is the problem that I have with us, and when we do things like this, we'll be quick to just tear down each other for no reason. But it's not just us. A lot of people do that. But in 2025, in these past few years, with victims and all this other stuff, right? We just create these narratives to where we will try to ruin somebody's legacy based on how we feel, and just put stuff out there, all the projection and stuff. Like, Martin had no colorism in it. I never heard. I mean, they may have made jokes here and there. I think, did he make jokes about Gina being light skinned or something like that? Maybe, but it wasn't no colorist thing. It was funny, but I don't remember any jokes about her being dark skinned. Martin was the same color as her. And the irony with all this, the irony, Pam was always desired more than Gina. Like when I was growing up, Pam was the attractive one. Pam was the sexy one. Gina was all right. I mean, she was a pretty woman, but Pam was the one that all the dudes wanted. She was the sexy one. You know what I'm saying? She could sing. Gina could sing too, but Pam was nice, brown skin, just had a nice sex appeal. That's who people actually wanted. She would be looking good on every episode. You know what I'm saying? Even so much to where a lot of people felt like Martin was low key attracted to Pam. That's why he would have the dream. You remember that episode when he had the dream that him and Pam was about to get it on and shit like that? Yeah, it's like Pam was the one who was desired. So if Pam was always the crush for these young boys and then the grown men and stuff like that, how did you dig up out your ass that Martin joked on her because she was dark skinned? Make it make sense, Ari. And like I said, man, that's just a slap in the face to Martin, his legacy, the show, the cast, the crew. To Sheena Arnold, who played Pam and all this other stuff. Like, you just created a narrative for people to run with. And like I said, she probably feels this way, but I thought that was baloney at the end of the day. And I just didn't appreciate it. There are a lot of Martin fans, millions of us are around the world that watch that show and cherish that show, and I refuse to let somebody come and project their own insecurities onto Martin and his platform that he had. You know what I'm saying? That was just disrespectful. People have the right to say how they feel, but come on, man. Like, bringing that up. And if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments if somebody can show me or tell me the jokes that Martin made about Pam's skin tone. And like I said, Ari didn't say this verbatim, but she definitely implied that. But she's projecting her own insecurities onto that show. Nobody has I ever heard talk about that. But that's just how it is. That's how it is. We in this whole, you know, this era of everybody has to feel and project things and stuff like that. It's just, and you just did, this is a 90s show. Oh my god, I just felt so bad that Martin always went in on Pam. Martin would go in on everybody, fighting an old woman, Miss Jerry. That's what I'm just like, what are you talking about? But anyway, y'all, let me know in the comments what you think about that.